Oh, that was a good sneeze. Sorry you all missed it. So I was watching the baseball game. I'm going to see if I can find it here again. There it is. Yeah, will you play? I can watch the
Probably
game.
not.
I will be distracted, hoping for Canada. We'll turn it. We don't need the volume. Quiet. Thank you. What is it saying here? No, that's not. It says the fan pregame. That's not what I want to see. I want to see the baseball.
It's definitely the 7th or 8th inning at this point, probably the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching it on a recorded basis. Let's see. We'll do that. No, we won't. That isn't what you want to do, dude. Okay. Anyway, let's start with our story here. The Maple Leafs, you want them to follow Bear Prince.
Yeah, as it currently stands, the Toronto Maple Leafs need to fall at least another 4 spots in the standings if they want to rise higher in the long term. If they don't, then they're probably going to give the Boston Bruins a first-round pick in the top half of this year's current NHL draft. So the idea here would be to make sure that they tank without tanking, and I mean tank without obviously tanking, to get where they need to go. As it currently stands, I believe they're in 25th place, so they'd have to make their way down a little bit lower. So, they're 6 points ahead of the 28th place St. Louis Blues at this point, who recently won a Stanley Cup. And by recent, I mean 2019. So that's still 7 years ago, but, close enough for government work. But yeah, they if they don't finish lower than where they currently are, it could spell problems for them draft wise. If they do manage to get into the bottom 5, then that draft pick will slide from 2026 to 2027, which is better news for them in the long run. Actually, it's either going to go to 2027 or 2028. So there you go. As it currently stands, like I mentioned before, the Leafs are currently sitting in 26th place now with 65 points. They may be able to catch the New York Rangers, who are currently sitting at 60 points, but it's unlikely they'll be able to drop to the depths of the Vancouver Canucks, who are sitting there with only 46 points. Unless Vancouver wins out and Toronto loses every single remaining game, of which they have 17, it's very unlikely that they're going to be in last place, but they do need to drop at least another 2. So.
Well, the Islanders got the first overall pick without finishing really terrible.
Well, that is true.
Right? So they got a really good pick. Probably one of the best defensemen, at least one of the best Canadian defensemen in a while. And we'll see how that plays out. Well, I was I was on the socials, and I have this thing where I think it's time to trade Matthews. And a guy, nice guy and everything, he shoots back at me. He says he just needs a playmaker. And the reason I said they need to trade him, the reason they need to trade him is because he can't make plays. I know exactly. He needs a playmaker. And if he was a playmaker, it would be pretty good. It'd be beneficial. So, look, we're talking hockey here, right? We're not talking Austin Matthews, the human being. We're talking Austin Matthews, the hockey player. And the hockey player is not a fit for Toronto. And the sooner Toronto figures that out, look, he's going to do better wherever he goes. But that's because he's going to get a real first opportunity to restart his career. He can't restart his career. It's all the old baggage is right here in the closet he's at right now. That is, the Maple Leaf organization. So, it is what it is. Nylander, in fact, I would go as far as saying this, that Nylander is more valuable to the Leafs only because he can generate offense on his own. He doesn't need a playmaker. He is a playmaker, but he has his, negatives that we could toss out here.
And I mean, as it currently stands, I think he's really the only Toronto Maple Leaf at this point that's optimistic enough that he believes that the Leafs can return to contention next season. So,
and he could be an asset.
100%. As he admits himself, he says it's really hard to stay optimistic in this sort of situation. But yeah, just trying to get a win. It's been difficult for Nylander for a multitude of reasons. He missed 17 games this year, due to a lingering groin injury. That's almost a quarter of the season he's managed to miss so far. He lost out on a medal at the Winter Olympics in Milan, falling in the quarterfinals to Austin Matthews and Team USA. Now, despite missing games, Nylander still leads the Leafs with 21 goals and 59 points in 47 games this season. So he's outperforming a guy that's paid significantly more than he is. But yeah, there's been a bit of frustration here.
If the ability to score points and make plays has any value, again, a trigger man is awesome, but a trigger man is not a guy. Is not a guy that's going to carry this team into the out of the wilderness. Right now, what they need is money that they can spend on players. They need players, young players that they can build on, and they're in a challenge. That's why I think the trading of Austin Matthews would be beneficial if his value around the league meets up to what some of the Leaf fans consider him. But I think they would have a hard time getting anything of real serious value for Austin Matthews. And I'm afraid they'd probably have to eat 30% of his contract. So if they don't trade him, it's because they know they're not going to get enough in return. It's the same thing that happened with OEL, right? They didn't trade him because they didn't think they got what he was worth. And it wasn't worth getting rid of him. He's on a 2-year contract at a reasonable rate, so keep him. So Oliver Kapanen got his 20th goal for Montreal.
Yeah,
Montreal team is loaded with talent. There was a rumor out there, and it was only a rumor, and I read it, and I almost fainted that they were getting rid of Gallagher. They don't need Gallagher, but a couple of veterans here and there, to help steady the ship when it starts to rock and wander, right, is always a good idea.
Well, I mean, he does play a bit of a valuable role. In particular, last night he played the role of punching bag for Jake McCabe after taking a run at the youngin. After Brendan Gallagher decided he was going to deliberately interfere with Easton Cowan, Jake McCabe took it upon himself to make sure that would not happen again. And attempted to physically correct Mr. Brandon Gallagher, who doesn't seem to learn his lessons from encounters like that, but that's okay. Kapanen did score his 20th of the season with the Habs last night. Philip Deneau also scored, and Jake Evans added the empty netter. Jacob Dobish made 17 saves. The Leafs got outshot pretty significantly. He got outshot 33-18 last night, which is difficult to win with, Now, the Leafs entered last night 11 points outside of the playoffs and 13 behind the Habs, who have the second wild card spot. As it currently stands, that hasn't helped. Austin Matthews extended his goalless streak now to 19 games. They'll have a chance to see if they can fix that when the Leafs host the Ducks on Thursday. And when the Habs visit the Senators tonight, we should see some more fireworks there for sure. Because where the Senators and the Habs are relatively close to each other. The Canadians are in third place in the Atlantic with 80 points, and the Sens are just behind at 73. A little bit outside of the wild card picture, but still within clawing distance. So it'll be interesting to see how these two get on tonight.
The Bruins are their first target.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Matthews and the Leafs are on 2 terrible streaks. Back to the subject of Matthews.
I mean, if you'd have told me last season that they'd be mired in an 8-game long losing streak, that I would be hard put to believe you. And it's their 8th loss in a row since coming out of the Olympics, and it's just brutal. You would have thought coming out of the winter break and heading towards the trade deadline that they'd have played with some semblance of any sort of urgency, but yeah, it's nothing. It's not, and Matthews isn't scoring because he's not shooting. he he's had 47 shots on goal that have been turned away. He's averaging about 4 shots a game, so it's not like he's not getting the opportunities to score.
So what are we saying then? By saying that, what are we saying then? We're not saying that he's unable to get chances. We're saying he's not finishing the chances. That's what we're saying, right?
Yeah, there seems to be an issue with his shooting. There seems to be an issue with his ability to hit the target that he wants to hit. Normally, where I've seen him get the puck in the past couple of games, he's automatic from those spots, but it doesn't seem to be the case these days. So
that is a consistent problem with him over the past couple of years. Even when Marner was here, he, this slide that he's on today, and it's kind of sad. And I have to say that, it's kind of counterintuitive when you figure he's on a path to score 37 goals. That is, if you don't go by the last 11 games. He's a guy who's scored 46 times. So, he has the ability to score goals, but it seems to have disappeared. The last night against Montreal, he hit a post. He hit a pad, which then hit a post. So there are two things that could have happened there that were better than what ended up happening. He could have hit the pad a little thinner, and he didn't. And the post could have cooperated a little more. Yeah, no, the Leafs are in deep trouble right now, in the sense that there's a lot of emotional stuff going on with the way they're playing and where they look like they're going to end up. Guys like Nylander are sounding like, or tipping their hand to saying, I don't know if I can handle playing on a team like this. So, the Schmidt's going to hit the fan when the offseason begins. Let's go over to the WBC and let's talk about Team USA.
So I'm not sure if you were watching any of these games, Frank, but
I watched that game. I heard it was 5-0. I said, what?
Yep.
What?
And then it was 5-1, and then it was 6-1, and then it was 6-4, and then by the end of it, oh thank God, they actually managed to pull it out. 8-6 final, really exciting game. Unfortunately, not the game that Team USA was hoping for. Seeing a lot of cope out there anyways, because they're saying, oh, well, it's not really the Team USA got beat by Italians. They got beat by a whole bunch of Italian Americans. So it's really an exhibition game. And it's like, well, that's kind of not how the WBC works. And I understand you're struggling with the fact that you couldn't beat a bottom-feeding team like Italy, because it's the Italians. What do they know about it? All they know is meatballs. And I saw a whole bunch of American fans in the stands doing the whole finger thing of the sections of Italian fans, and I'm like, that's going to come around to bite you. And sure enough, it did. So this puts Team USA in an interesting situation.
Well, America's pastime. Pastime. As much of a glory it was for them to win the Olympic gold in hockey, and the women win the Olympic gold in hockey, it pales by comparison in extreme to them losing in baseball. Like, winning in hockey is not that big a challenge. Losing in baseball as the American best players, that's another story.
So here's the thing: they're going to need a win by Mexico technically speaking, I believe tomorrow.
And it still depends on what the score is too.
Yes. So if there are 4 or fewer runs scored in the Italy-Mexico game, then they're through. If Italy wins and scores any number of runs, then Italy and Team USA are through. If Mexico scores more than 5 runs, then Mexico and Team USA are through. So right now, Italy and Mexico have a chance to do something really funny. And that is have a 2-1 game and leave Team USA out of it. I don't think it's going to happen, because it's the World Baseball Championships. Everybody wants to blow the doors off and show out big for their country. But I just think it would be funny if it's one of those things where it's completely out of their control now. It's entirely dependent on the two teams in front of them.
A picture of Trump in each of the dugouts.
Again, I would just remind the players just to remind the players, the less runs you score, the better the chances that these guys don't have to meet them.
Well, if they don't score any runs and they require extra innings and they can get away with a 1-0 game, it doesn't matter who wins.
No. At that point, it doesn't matter who wins because Mexico and Italy will be through and Team USA will be.
And if you're Mexico and Italy, you're saying, what a shame it would be if the Americans get ousted.
Look, you know what? We'll make a friendly arrangement between us here. I'm going to swing at everything as long as you swing at everything, and then
for both of them. It's better for both of them. For both of them, it's better for both of them.
As long as we both play like ass and everybody strikes out heading into the extra innings, then that's fine.
And if one of the teams doesn't show up, it ends up being 1-0 for the team that shows up.
As far as I'm aware, yes. Now, potentially, I mean, because of where it is and because of increased cartel activity and crime, there may not necessarily be. Also, because Team Mexico and Team Italy are playing in Texas, there is a very real possibility. They've been playing in Texas all along. There is a very real possibility that ICE may step in. So,
that would be awesome.
That'd be a shame, wouldn't it? If immigrations and customs enforcement detained the Mexican and Italian teams just long enough for the game to be forfeited.
Yeah. No, you know what? All these wishful things to happen that, I guess, look, sports is funny this way. As much glorification was received and explored and bragged about by the Americans because they won a gold medal. I'm telling you, this is more shameful than that is good.
And I just want to say for our viewers out there, I don't support the idea of ICE swooping in and detaining either the Italian or the Mexican teams. That's not it. I just think it would be funny if America got skunked at their own game. That's really what it boils down to.
That is. But that's the reality of sport.
Yeah, anything can happen.
On any given day, strange stuff can happen. All right, let's go to the
Raptors.
Let's go to the Raptors.
Yeah, Durant and Thompson led the Rockets to a 113-99 win over the Toronto Raptors. Kevin Durant had 29 points and Amen Thompson scored 23 as the Rockets just basically laid one on the Raptors on Tuesday night. Durant shot 12 of 16 from the field while adding 7 rebounds. He had 22 of his points in the first half alone. Thompson eclipsed the 20-point mark for the 5th time in 6 games now. He converted on 6 of his 10 field goal attempts while making 10 free throws. Jabari Smith Jr. also added 23 points for the Rockets, who pulled into a tie for 3rd place in the Western Conference standings. And Alperen Sengun scored 14 and grabbed 12 rebounds. RJ Barrett's 25 points led the Raptors. Scotty Barnes had 24. Toronto made just 9 of 36 3-point attempts. They were shooting 25% from the field, which is not going to win you any games. Raptors lead over the Orlando Magic for 5th place in the Eastern Conference is down to 1/2 a game, which is not good.
Canada wins 7-2.
And that's all she wrote, man. I will take that. That's our first time through to the quarterfinals in the history of this tournament, so that's a wonderful result.
Yep, they did it with 3 family members, one of which we saw standing at first base for Seattle. And he almost single-handedly destroyed the Blue Jays' hopes of going to the World Series, but it didn't quite pan out that way. The Jays ended up going through. How about tennis? Aliassime.
Yeah, Auger Aliassime was eliminated by Francis Arthur Fils in 4th round action yesterday. He dropped 6-3, 7-6 decision. Fils was seeded 30th at the 1,000 level event and won 83% of his service points. Felix Auger Aliassime was seeded 9th. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to pull through. On the flip side of the coin, though, Mboko managed to advance to the quarterfinals. So that's a good sign for her. She upset 6th seeded Amanda Anisimova 6-4, 6-1 in just an hour and 13 minutes. Mboko converted on all 4 break points that she had in the match. She'll be playing top-seeded Belarusian Arina Sabalenka, who beat Naomi Osaka 6-2, 6-4. In men's doubles, OJ Aliassime and Sebastian Korda lost to Karen Khachanov and Andrei Rublev on Tuesday night. Khachanov and Rublev are going to be advancing to the quarterfinals. Gabrielle Dabrowski and Luisa Stefani were eliminated by Nicole Melichar-Martinez of the States and Spain's Cristina Buska in a tight quarterfinals. So unfortunately, that ends Dabrowski's opportunity to push through.
CFL, me, Aaron.
So Brandon Anasine has signed a one-day contract with the Red Blacks to retire with them. He'll go into the Hall of Fame when he's eventually inducted as an Ottawa Red Black, which was his intention. He played 32 games over 3 seasons with the Red Blacks, registering 139 receptions for 1,530 yards and 8 touchdowns, while adding 44 carries for 209 yards. He played 63 games over 7 seasons in the CFL with the Red Blacks. He signed with the NFL's Denver Broncos originally as an undrafted free agent in 2016 and spent time with the Bears before signing with the Argonauts in the CFL in 2018.
Excellent. Let's talk about the Ticats, bud.
Yeah, they've signed Stephen Douglas. He played 2 seasons at Northwood at 23 to 2025, appearing in 16 games and recording 103 tackles. Prior to transferring to Northwood, he actually played 2 seasons at Albion College. It'll be interesting to see where he fits into their plans. But yeah, young, fresh player. From all reports, has been scouted well. So we'll see how he fits into their plans.
Give me the Riders.
D'Artagnan Tinsley is the most recent signing. He's an American offensive lineman, 6'4", 320. He had originally signed with the Cleveland Browns as an undrafted free agent in 2025 and played in 1 preseason game. Spent times at Kentucky Christian before transferring to Cincinnati. And in 3 years with the Bearcats, he played in 30 games, started in all 21 games in his final 2 seasons.
How about those Argos?
They signed Cole DeMagistris. DeMagistris is 6'4", 295. Played 23 games over 2 seasons at Sacred Heart, where he was a team captain as a senior. For all intents and purposes, I'm glad that they're shoring up the offensive line the way that they are. With some of the players that they've lost and some of the players that they brought in, I have a feeling that their quarterback's going to need a little extra protection. So having a few big bads up front doesn't hurt.
Let's talk about the NHL. Let's start with the Sens.
So James Reimer is back in the NHL, folks. He did actually manage to hold down the fort. Thomas Chabot, unfortunately, had some issues. The Sens actually went 4-0-1 on the road trip and are 9-1-2 in their past 12 games. They've been playing absolutely fantastic. And they managed to shut out the Vancouver Canucks 2-0, and they held them to just 16 shots. When it comes to forward grading, Stützle is the highest rated, worth the price of admission. He closes out the game with a B. Claude Giroux got a B-, and Drake Bratheson had a C+. Brady Tkachuk got a C+ for the game. Just stupid penalties. Couldn't make it work 5-on-5. Just recorded 1 hit and just wasn't really there. Thomas Chabot was unfortunately the worst player of the night for the Sens, but because they won 2-0, that sort of it all comes out in the wash.
How about them Jets?
They've been grounded, man. The Ducks managed to snap the Jets' win streak. They beat up Winnipeg 4-1, and their 6-game point streak finally ended. For the first time since the Olympic break, the Jets managed to fail to pick up at least 1 point in a hockey game. Morgan Barron got the Jets on the board early, but unfortunately that was it. They had the lead for about 45 seconds to a minute, and then Anaheim basically took over. After 2 periods, they actually had a 28-5 lead when it came to shots on goal. It's bad.
Flames
got shut out by the Rangers 4-0 at Madison Square Garden after the Maple Leafs gifted the New York Rangers their first regulation win in 2 months, I believe it was, 2 or 3 months. They get to come back here and mop up the Flames 4-0. Ryan Strome played in his 900th NHL game. Adam Klapka reached the 100-game mark in his NHL career. Dustin Wolf got the start for Calgary opposite Jonathan Quick, who he'd often cited as a hero. But unfortunately, it never quite went their way. I think that Calgary is noticing the fact that Kadri's no longer there. He seems to be having a little bit of fun in Colorado. So there we go.
Let's talk about the Flames again, and this time with the Capitals.
Yeah, they haven't been having a fun time of it. The Capitals appear to have snapped a 3-game losing skid with a 7-3 win over the Flames. Connor McMichael scored twice. Justin Sourdif had a goal and 2 assists, and Hendrix Lapierre added a goal and an assist for Washington. Tom Wilson, Ethan Frank, and Ryan Leonard also scored for the Capitals. Matt Vigridin, Blake Coleman, and Yegor Sharangovich scored for Calgary. They've actually lost 5 of their last 6 games at this point. So any hopes that they might have had for the playoffs, it's not looking as good as it was. Now, again, they didn't have a great start to the season either. So the fact that they're currently sitting 7th in the Pacific is pretty indicative of why they managed to get, or why they chose to get rid of the players that they did at the trade deadline.
Talk to me about the Oilers.
Yeah, the Oilers got a late power play, game-winning goal. Bit of controversy in this one.
Yeah.
At one point, it looked like their goalie was going to be out for a while, mainly because with 34 seconds left in the second period, Nathan McKinnon was cutting through the crease and hit Connor Ingram in the head so hard he actually cut his forehead on his mask. There was a bit of controversy because the fans didn't believe that McKinnon deserved 5 minutes and a game, but the fact that Connor Ingram was bleeding kind of says you kind of got to give him the penalty, especially if you're taking him out for concussion protocols. That's a thing.
I just think he was wearing the wrong uniform. If you had a Florida Panthers jersey on, he would have got away.
He would have been just fine. Yeah, no, but
he was knocked into the goaltender, Aaron. He was the way he was skating, the direction he was going before he got hit. In my opinion, before he got hit, brought him from outside the crease to in the crease.
Now, here's the thing. He tried to run over Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse didn't try to hit him. No, honestly, Darnell Nurse didn't try to hit him. He tried to hit Darnell Nurse.
I hear what you're saying. That's the point. I think we agree on one thing. He did not go in a straight line.
No.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He also did have the opportunity to avoid the goaltender, but chose the path of least resistance.
He could have done something to stop or slow down, to your
or
point.
At least mitigate the impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead, he went in the air.
Yeah.
Did the Superman thing.
That's just not good.
Well, it got him a penalty, and I don't know. I didn't hear if it got him a suspension yet.
No, I don't think he's going to face the supplementary discipline, but it did come with a game misconduct. So,
Let's talk about the Canucks. The Canucks.
So, after their 2-0 loss to the Sens on Monday night, they basically Adam Foote provided an update on Evander Kane. The 34-year-old did not play after being listed as a game time decision after morning skate. He was not on the ice at either morning skate or during pregame warm-ups. According to Coach Foote, he's been fighting through an injury, a discomfort upper body. He played 61 of Vancouver's 64 games so far this season. He has 11 goals and 27 points, along with 78 penalty minutes. Kane is in the final year of his contract and is scheduled to become a free agent on July 1st. When they initially picked him up from the Oilers, the intention was that he was to be their disturber and one of their go-tos, but unfortunately, it hasn't quite panned out that way. So, well, I mean, they were trying to trade him back to Vancouver, to Edmonton from Vancouver, but it just didn't quite work.
Now, we're going to go back to the World Baseball Classic. We're going to go back to the Canada game, which they ended up winning while we were on the air. Did you watch the game?
I watched part of it. I'm at work, so technically speaking, I'm not really supposed to watch it.
At work. Yeah, you wouldn't be watching. But what I'll tell you,
I did listen to it.
There was a play where they made a couple of errors, and one error in particular, I thought we were going to end up back to where we were in that game against not Colombia. They beat Colombia. Puerto Rico. The game against Puerto Rico, they made a couple of errors that changed the whole complexion of the game. And the table was set for them to accomplish that same goal if it wasn't for the fact that, Cuba made a couple really bad mistakes, and it ended up helping Canada win. It is really nice to see Baseball Canada have this kind of success, and they work really hard. Baseball Canada has worked really hard trying to create a good baseball culture in this country. Needless to say, they've hung their hat on the Blue Jays, and a lot of the popularity of baseball has hinged on the Blue Jays, right, Aaron?
Yeah, in Canada, it definitely has. Unfortunately, the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't nearly as big as they used to be in regards to intercounty baseball. But it's one of those situations where the game is growing. It's just not as big as it could potentially be. So hitching their wagon to the Jays was definitely a wise move on their part, but it unfortunately doesn't bring as many eyes as it potentially could.
Well, they've got some good AAA teams. Vancouver's really awesome, and AAA baseball, AA baseball, A baseball. Baseball is a very popular game in Canada. It always has been. It just let's just say that in the rest of the world, in other countries, baseballs and soccer are the two games that you play, right? Whereas in Canada, we have a few. As you know, we have lacrosse. We have hockey, we have football, and we have baseball. The point being, and curling and tennis, because we do really well in tennis, we do really well in curling. So Canada's really good at sports, a lot of them. But we're kind of, kids grow up, and we had our first junior player win the Canadian Championship, a black kid who won the first time a black person's won any championship in Canada. So, this is the thing about being in Canada. It isn't necessarily Italians play soccer, and such, right? They play Canadians of whatever culture. They all play every sport. You'll see them everywhere. And that's the beauty of sport. And we've got a lot of really good athletes that are a great example to becoming winners. In fact, there's a guy playing basketball right now that basically is doing a great job, and so we've got a lot of really good athletes in Canada, and baseball I think is one where we've always had a handful. Everybody can remember the Expos that were Canadian, the Jays that were Canadians, and Canadians in Texas. Yeah, I don't even have to mention the names; you'll know who they are. You were talking about intercounty baseball. So I'm really happy about them winning this and getting to the next round. Now it's going to be a question of who they're playing. So they'll be playing the second place team in the B pool. So,
and just for a little further clarification for anybody watching the WBC and trying to figure out exactly what happens here, if Mexico wins against Italy, but Italy allows 4 runs or fewer in a 9-inning loss with just 24 defensive outs, Italy and Mexico would win the tiebreaker over the U.S. If Italy allows 5 runs or more in a 9-inning loss, the United States and Mexico would win the tiebreaker over Italy. Now, if it goes to extra innings, things get much more complicated. But Team USA can kind of take solace in knowing that it could have been in much worse shape. Italy was out to an 8-0 lead through the top of the 6th, a margin that could have made it difficult for Team USA to complete in the tiebreaker scenario. They were almost mercy ruled. And by that, I mean in the WBC, if you're leading by 10 runs after 7 innings, the game is done. If you're leading by 15 runs after 5 innings, the game is done. But yeah, as it currently stands, Italy was close. They had the bases loaded at one point in the 7th inning, and I thought that they were going to do it. But
too bad.
I know.
That's all I can say. Aaron, it was fun. Thanks for doing this, buddy.
Not a problem, Frank. We'll see you Friday.
He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank City. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you again on Friday.